I stay out, like past my curfew, if I get a bad grade, if I do something bad in school, if I get in a fight, if I pick a fight.
After I do the yelling, and then I sit them down after I, calm down. I sit them down in my room, then I tell them, now you tell me what you did wrong, because you know what? You tell me. Because sometimes they would hear you but not listen. And then I'll ask them, you explain to me what all the yelling was about. Because you know what? Did you hear me or did you listen to me? And then they have to explain to me.
It was often a lot of like, go to your room, think about your actions. After we've all kind of had time to cool down, then we as a family, whether it's like 2 hours or 2 days later, we all talk about what happened. They kind of figure out for me why I did like the yelling or the running away or whatever it was. And then we as a family are like, well, Katie, this is why we don't like this behavior, this is what you can do instead of the behavior you've shown. So I really, at times, I mean, overall, I appreciated it. We are a very open family, but it's not that it's like, oh, anything goes. It was just open in the sense of I didn't feel like I had to stifle like what I said or how I felt, and that's what I really liked.
I think if there was questions, like, yeah, it's 11 o'clock and I want to stay up later. No, these are the reasons why. Or, no, you're not doing anything tomorrow. You're really enjoying the show. Yeah, you can stay up a little later. So I think that there was rules, but that they could be negotiated.
Sometimes when we can't think of punishments, we let the kids kind of help out.
Cell phones get taken away, confiscated. No TV, no video game, no going nowhere.
Rules was, you went to school and you did your best in school. You came home, you did your homework before going outside or getting on the telephone or looking at the TV. You had rules like that. Do your chores before you had fun time. Don't leave everything on mom,
It was bad, but not that bad. Like you couldn't get on the phone or little stuff like that. You might just get a whooping, depending on what you did. But I used to always say I ain't care, but I did, like as far as the phone. I was bored, wasn't nothing to do. Just sit in the room, just sit there and read. That's when I started reading.
That's when she started reading more, which was good.
I just be like, you ain't tell me not to do that. You did not say that, but they say they said it, but they really didn't. They don't be saying it though. And I be telling the truth, y'all don't be saying it. Like in the back of my head, I probably knew, but thought like,
She knew.
I ain't gonna get in trouble. I ain't gonna get in trouble for it.
She had to know. Living in the house with us, you had to know.
As far as like pushing the limits, I enjoyed it just a little. It made me happy to get it off my chest, so I did it. But I ended up getting in trouble for it, but it was worth it, but it wasn't worth it, the consequence.
Wanted to let them know, first of all, just your basic morals and values. And, just be right in everything that you do and stand for. And everything else will fall into place.
I think it's unspoken rules. Just instincts and the way that we've been brought up are our guides as to what to do and what not to do.
Early on, that spankings just wasn't the way to go, especially when the oldest says, Mom, they don't work. And I was like, okay, so I knew then that was the end of that.
If we do something that our parents disagree with, they'll sit us down and tell us their disappointments, but also really express why they feel disappointed, where they're coming from, so that there's no misunderstanding. And if there is, then we have free ground to ask questions and try to rectify the situation and come to a compromise and a conclusion.
I would assume that I would obviously lose the trust of my parents, which is like, that would be a huge consequence because, I mean, that's what I've built up all my life, and now that would be gone, which is that would be really hard.
When I do something wrong, or like if I like lie or something, like I feel bad about it. Like they don't need to like ground me or anything, just 'cause like I feel like worse about it than like anything they could do to me. So I mean, that always helped me a lot, because like I always like wanted to do the right thing. Most of the stress in my life wasn't from school or soccer, it was from my parents. Because like I knew I could handle what I was doing, but my parents didn't really understand that, like, yeah, I found the balance, I can do both, but they really pressured me to just totally be this kid who like is like, you know, the mama's boy, the daddy's boy, you know. And they didn't realize that I was kind of starting to grow up. I mean, this is freshman year in high school, and like it's starting to get to the point where I'm gonna start making my own decisions, and like I'm gonna, you know, what happens to me is gonna affect me. Freshman year and stuff, it was more just like hiding and like kind of not really wanting to tell them what was going on. I mean, some of the wake-up calls is like I saw my friends just falling off, and like they're not doing as well in school, they're like not as good at sports, and I don't know, I just didn't want to see myself doing that, because like I had goals. I think my mom and dad have started to let go a little bit more, and the summer so far has been a blast being home, just because like we have an understanding for what we're doing, like what each other's doing, and there's like a mutual respect now.
She wasn't naughty, but she did some things. You know, you have to say, well, just the kids, they got the experience in certain things as they grow up. You know, she was just being curious and being that coming up being that teenager to her young adult years now.
If there's a time that they've disappointed me, or I'll say, you know, hurt my feelings or something, they will write me a note of apology. You know, because I'll get quiet and maybe just go off, and I'll get a note slid under the door.
When I find it hard to communicate that, I do write letters, and that it seems so much easier at times if I just write it down and, here, Mom, this is what I'm feeling. I can't say it, but here it is, and it works as if I did say it.
She yells at me. I know she still loves me. She don't want me doing it again. It doesn't really shift, it just comes naturally.
I have an open door policy. He comes and lays across the bed, and he'll say, hey, Ma, guess what? You know, he'll tell me about a situation that happened at school or with someone that he knows, and I'll ask him, well, how do you feel about that?
The one thing I really like though is they're always there for me. Like no matter what I was going through, like I could talk to them. Like if something was going on with my girlfriend, I could talk to them.
Anything that I've ever done that has maybe been not look so good on myself, it would just kind of be like, well, you know what you did wrong, and you know how you can fix it, and you know what you need to do, so next time do it. You know, it's not like, oh, well, you're gone for 2 months because of this. It's just kind of like, you see your mistake, I see your mistake, we'll move on from here.
I've made some mistakes, and like I've learned from them, and I'm better from it, and I'm almost glad, like, I mean, high school is a big time of like, just like, you make some mistakes, you know. Being the oldest, I mean, they've never done this before, so I mean, they don't really know how to react to certain situations, and no, it is very hard to be a parent, and like, we're at another level now. I mean, at that time, yeah, there wasn't much appreciation, because like, I don't know, I felt like they were just stressing me out all the time, and like they were doing all this stuff to me. Like I felt that, and like really it wasn't that bad.